All right, it's been a long time. I don't even know when the last time I recorded a global PvP tier list video was, but now that we have MEREOLEONA, a lot of things are going to start to shift, and this is just the beginning. So I'm going to do it now, and when Zora comes out, Zora and Vanessa, those are going to be the two big shifts, I'd say, in meta. Zora is more so just a switch in teams, where Mario's a whole resurgence of certain units, which is very fun. Now, we're going to start on this. Thank you to Pridewind. For the most part, I did a lot of the changes. A lot of it was just stuff that's kind of logical, right? Now, we're going to talk about certain things that I'm not 100% sure about. I'm not sure where I'd rank them. And with you guys, I would love if we could kind of decide in the comments. You guys let me know what you think of these certain units that we're going to talk about that I'm like kind of 50-50, could be higher, could be lower. We'll get through to that. Now, for the JP PvP tier list, I don't really feel like making a separate video, but Spirit Dive, is an S. I will make a video like explaining my thought process behind this and a lot of other people's in high ranking PvP as to why Spirit Dive is an S tier and not any higher. So we're gonna get to that in the future, and why honestly I think this is okay in some ways. All right, now let's start S plus and S. Let's explain everything. We're gonna break down pretty much every single unit on this tier list. Obviously, Black Costa is in S+. This guy's still a monster, works on so many different teams, and he has access to his anti-magic damage increase, giving him a bunch of extra damage, right? Skill 2 AoE, where either he does just fucking destructive damage, or he is going to be being an amazing tank, right? His ult 2 very strong, having the 2-turn taunt, having the not the AoE stun, just the guaranteed stun, and this actually is a very strong skill. The block HP recovery is a lot stronger than you might think. In a lot of instances, it works out very well, and of course, he gets all this good stuff. I mean, there's not really much more to say for that. Now, next up is Fuego. This is a new addition, and one I am very happy about, right? Because Fuego, I mean, at the beginning, I was thinking he might be cracked, but there was just no team to really use him on. And at the beginning, I didn't really have him maxed out, right? Back when he came out on JP a while ago. What, season 4 would have been... Ooh, was it August or September, I think? Somewhere around there, right? I didn't have this maxed out. 100% chance to get 25% damage increase was not something I had. And obviously, I didn't really use it. But Fuego's damage is definitely by far one of the highest because he gets multiplicative stacks of 15% per burn, 25% per burn, and a total of 220% if there's 3 burns, right? So all those 3 numbers could stack together, and I'm pretty sure it's multiplicative because I don't think he would be doing 4 or 5 million damage otherwise, right? Right? Like, let me know on that, but just logically speaking, 75%, 45% or 220% together, if it was additive, I do not think it would be 4 million damage. But if it's multiplicative, where you multiply the 45% damage increase to the afterwards 75% damage increase to the 220% damage increase, the 4 million, 5 million damage sometimes does make sense, okay? He's very good, and obviously what he needed was someone to apply burns quite frequently, but still be able to tank, stay alive alongside Fuego, and that exactly is what it is. And that's going to be MEREOLEONA. I'm not even going to explain Charlotte. Charlotte is by far, I think, she is top 3 in the game. However you wish to rank her within that top 3 is up to you. Now, Mereo, okay, is just so toxic, okay. Her taunt on her skill 1 is super strong because of how easy she applies burns, right? She has a skill 2 damage reduction AoE alongside stun block, and because it's on a skill 2, you could use it much more frequently than you would be able to use damage reduction ultimates. And then she's able to do pretty good damage, applies the burns, taunts, right? Takes away some of the safety risks from Fuego, and is just overall extremely good. There's nothing to say more about her. Every one of her skills is amazing, including her combo, okay? Then, this is the first unit I'm slightly unsure about. Well, the reason is that now she is very good on a lot of teams and actually does disable the Fuego team a lot of the times, but I feel like she is more of an offensive unit than a defensive unit, and a lot of the times I can't be fully sure how well she's gonna work, okay? She's very good, and she is at least S tier, but between S and S+, I am unsure what exactly I would rank her, okay? she has a lot of good utility. And if her skill page is maxed, then she really does become a powerhouse. But still, I find myself a bit unsure to put her in S plus. Like, these four are game changing units, but is Noelle on that tier? I feel like she might be more of an S unit than an S plus unit. Now, William, I'm starting to think the same. I'm really almost debating like putting him to S and putting Ghost to S plus just because of the recent team. But then again, the William combo is still super strong and nothing takes that away. And I think that's going to be something that will remain strong. I mean, we see it on JP. It's still usable to this day, especially when you get Mario's damage even higher. I think William will get at least a bit better. So for sure, I think he is more deserving of S plus than Noelle. Obviously, I'll explain this every single time, just because I know there's always new people. He gives defense penetration to the target mage of 40%. Since he's this quickest unit in the game, there will not be all the damage reduction defensive buffs applied, which is why when you apply that with MEREOLEONA's AoE combo, turn 1, and there's no damage reduction on the enemies yet, you're going to be doing a lot of damage because also of William's defense penetration that he gives to MEREOLEONA, where any other DPS that has an AoE in the future, it's going to be extremely strong. Whenever they give an AoE combo now to a DPS or someone that's able to do damage, they will have to think very carefully if they want to do that, right? I'm interested, honestly, in knowing. I mean, it probably would work. Actually, no. Yami's combo, right, could be somewhat worth, but it's just that the AoE multiplier is so much lower. It's about half of MEREOLEONA's, which is the problem, which is insane to think about. So that's it for S plus tier. Going on to S tier, these are all still very meta viable units, but not directly insane. Now, Charmy is really good. Her immortality allows her to be extremely useful. Okay, Finral is still there. I feel like he is, compared to these three, he is definitely lower. But Witch Queen and Yuno, I mean, especially Witch Queen. I feel like Witch Queen now with this update might even be an S plus. But I'm still, she's a bit of a interesting case, right? Because she is very much restricted to Black Asta. But there are cases where she could just be a toxic ass healer, right? She reduces the amount of healing that you receive, right? Or that the enemies receive. She puts bleeds, every type of DLT, okay? And it's pretty good for healing, especially if there's any other dot units, such maybe as MEREOLEONA. But definitely is more restricted to Black Asta, where Black Asta is much more universal. So I'd say that that's probably why I rate Mereo in S. But as for, like, and Mereo, Witch Queen are, like, just on the cusp of being S+. And, is insanely good because he has his absolute silence. He could lower SP quite a lot once you get him more up there in terms of his dupes and skill page dupes. But even without it, he's going to have an amazing skill 2 where he could AoE silence skill 2. So, very solid. I feel that either, like, Noelle could go up at least for a little bit, or, like, Finral could go down. Like, Finral is actually pretty good, and probably is better than Noelle, at least by a bit, but I don't really think I'd put Finral on the same tier as these three. Like, Rill is just a better version of Finral for this team, but obviously, Finral does work pretty well. It's just that, like, Rill can make attack twice. Also, he gives damage reduction, which is definitely something that's going to be needed for the mono red team in the future. Now, green. Fauna definitely deserves this placement. She does insane damage, and once people start using her with it's going to be game over. So why specifically? Because of this. Being able to remove immortality from an enemy AoE is super strong, okay? And, you might not want to admit it, but especially now, there's a lot more immortality units. We could see how many? At the moment, 1, 2, 3 red, okay? And then if we move along here, if we go down, we could see Licht and Langris. I'd say maybe Langris could be in B, but we'll talk about that a bit later. And then Mereo herself will be an immortality unit when Vanessa comes out. So being able to remove these immortalities, especially from Fuego, it's going to be very good. Plus, he also puts his the defense increase, or defense down, my bad, for 2 turns. I think it's only 1 turn, though. So it's going to be very strong to have in some team comps, right? You could use him with Mereo combo if you want. You could do whatever you kind of want for that. And it's just going to be very good. Let's just say that. Now, Rill, Powerhouse removes buffs, and that chance to remove buffs. And also, what's funny is you remove the buffs, and it might be damage reduction that you're removing, but then not even just that, you're also applying defense decrease for every buff you remove. So you're already taking away their defensive potential, and then you're increasing the amount of damage they're taking. So, you know, very strong. Then Vanessa, protection unit. We already showed her off with MEREOLEONA. Very strong team. Even at that, I think she has a lot of viability just to be ran with pretty much anyone who doesn't want to be hit. And hey, it works. Protection is very strong. Even on the mono green team, it can work if you don't want Fauna to be silenced, for sure. Mono red is one of the biggest deterrents to mono green, but in the future, I mean, there's gonna be some toxic teams that sprout up. Now, these two units in the blue S tier are both very good. Ghost, I think, has the potential to be in S plus. I honestly might trade Noelle and Ghost, honestly, if I had to, because Ghost is just too good now, right? He's at 116 speed at max dupe, but even without, I think he's at 113. Let me just verify that right now because I do have him on JP. Hello, at 0 dupes, I'm pretty sure. So if we go to support, he's at, 110 speed. He gets 6 speed from his dupes, which is quite crazy. And his whole thing is he gives 40% damage reduction when it's level 5, and then gives dot immunity, and then increases damage on skill 2. He's going to be insane, right? Insane for a lot of teams that just need a bit more damage. And then also just this damage reduction, if you apply it with Charlotte, is super good. But this dot immunity is where he shines because it stops mono green from being able to apply any burns, okay? Which is going to deter at least some damage if they're using Fuego skill page. It's going to stop Fuego from doing a lot of damage, and it's also going to stop mono red from getting a lot of heals because of Witch Queen. So Ghost definitely has the potential to be in S plus. I think this video is coming out after I showcased the Ghost team, so you guys should definitely check that video out because Ghost is strong. Now Julius, I honestly feel is not really a problem anymore. Turn 1, there's not really much to fear because at that point, by the time it's Julius's turn, in a lot of cases, I already have my max damage reduction, and then he can't attack, for example, my Fuego, because he's taunted on MEREOLEONA. So, because of that, I just don't think Julius is really that crazy anymore, but his second life, for sure, sometimes comes in to be annoying. So I'd say he's like mid-S to like high A is where I'd rank Julius right now. He's nothing too crazy, but he's not horrible, right? He's definitely there. I just don't think he's as good anymore. And I mean, it makes sense. It's been 4 months since he came out. Almost to the day. I mean, he came out the 25th. So it's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. No, it's not been 20... 19, 18, it's been 17 or so weeks because he came out on the 25th. So it's been 4 months, like a bit more than 4 months. I don't know where I was going, but the calendar always messing me up because like I can't tell the dates exactly because, you know, obviously it says December, so this is highlighted, but I get mixed up like what dates are in December, what dates are in November, etc., etc. But yeah, so it's been about 17 weeks, so it makes sense as to why Julius isn't as crazy anymore. And obviously they made Mariel to be a direct counter to Julius. She's green, a defender, has built-in damage reduction at the start and stun block at the start, so there's just no way Julius could like hold a candle to MEREOLEONA. Now we get to the lower tiers, and honestly these are a lot of units that are like kind of meh. I'd put probably Lotus up. I'd put Lotus up. I'd consider putting Noelle up. I'd probably put Licht up. That's about it, right? Mars is okay because he stops debuff block, but besides that, it's kind of mid. Lotus is pretty good, right? Luck, I think, is going to be... Give him, like, William. Once we get William, the team could probably be... what would it be? Oh, you really do need Healer Noelle, don't you? Because then... at least Sora. So, in a month from now, Luck will be able to be used. And then afterwards, once you get Nozel, you could just replace Luck by Nozel, and that's going to be a pretty strong team, too. All depending. I think that for sure... Mono Blue is going to become much more viable, but for right now, Luck is just kind of sitting duck. Now, Charmy is annoying, right? But she doesn't have much, like, usability now, especially with Mario's taunts. It's going to be a lot harder to use Charmy, but she has some uses. Now, for green, I mean, Gouldity could work. He has his protection. Langris, Immortality. Licht, Immortality. Mimosa has her res and heals, but it's just not as good, right? Rades has his barrier and defense up, but Definitely not a viable option compared to these guys. Valtos definitely lost a lot of value, and Yami is just not it because you have to build him with attack, right? Now for red, Charlotte, honestly, I could put her down because she doesn't get her defense decrease a lot of the times. Magna is just kind of mid. Him being an A is like even a bit of a reach in some cases, but I could kind of understand it. A lot of people like to use Magna, but it's just he's so much of a sitting duck, and you've got units like Charmy who have immortality and heal themselves compared to Magna is just not as good, right? You don't want to be a glass cannon in this game to that level. And if you do, you want to have immortality or res, like Julius, Fuego, and Charmy. So keep that in mind. That's the one problem with Fauna. If she had immortality, she would be S plus, maybe like S plus 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 plus, right? But she doesn't have immortality. If they ever give her an immortality unit with her and she's able to just use all her damage, it would be crazy. Because she could only get immortality after like 3-4 turns, which is rough. Now, Noelle on mono red actually can work, but besides that, meh, whatever. Now, for the bottom units, is there any I really want to talk about? Like, not really. I kind of agree with all these placements. They kind of have no meta relevance. There's not really a point to talking about any of them. I mean, maybe Charlotte could... No. Like, honestly, this is fine. This is a pretty good tier list. I'm pretty happy with it. It's just so unfortunate how little SRs there are that are good, and obviously it's because they haven't been making new SRs since Gifso, and Gifso's role was in PvE. So unfortunately, that's just how it is. But still, this is a very good tier list, and I'd say that like for the top S plus to A, like those are the main units you will be seeing in PvP. I do not see any units in B, right? But in A, it is very it is frequent that I'll see maybe like Charmy or Noelle or Valtos or Rades, right? But definitely like this is what makes up PvP right now. Okay, these 6, 8, 8, 12, 16 units. Okay, so keep that in mind. These are the units you want to be using the most, and if not, these are the units you fall back towards essentially. But yeah, that's basically it. The meta is going to be growing quite well because then you can see here there's quite a good amount of units, right? Even A rank at this point is still usable if we look at it, and like some of B rank. But if we really think about it, like A to S plus is usable in JP PvP for the most part, besides like Magna, Julius, and yeah, because on JP, like just looking at it, that's like 3, that's 6, 12, 11, and like 15, like close to 20, right? Close to 20, so it's a bit more. It's not the craziest amount more, that's for sure, but still. I think what grew is mainly mono blue, right? At a bit of mono green, like just these two units make, well, these three, I guess, make a whole difference. So that's basically it. Let me know what you guys think. Have you guys been enjoying the meta, or have you been dreading the meta because of how quick it is in some cases? Let me know, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.